When you're ready, Jim. We're good to go, okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The date is June 7th, 2021. The time is now 7 p.m. I call to order a regularly scheduled meeting of the Havre Grace Mayor and City Council. Stand by as I call the roll. Council President Glenn.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer. Here. Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Ringsager.
Here.
Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
All council members accounted for. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and opening prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody could please remain standing as I call forward Evangelist Gene Proud of the Proud Evangelistic Association. Thank you. It's so good to see you here again, sir. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. I have so much fun coming to Green.
Well, we love having you here.
I really do enjoy it. It really is a pleasure to pray for you tonight. Because it's so easy that you're doing what we need now. And that's what the Lord told us to pray for. The people who are in the positions of authority to do what needs to be done so that we can have peaceful conversations. So let's pray. Jesus, we thank you for everything you've done, for all of these you've spoken and already before us, for our well-being, for the best interests of us as a group. Give them wisdom, understanding, and insight beyond our wildest dreams, so that everything they see, say, and do will be for the best interests of the people of Havre Grace and for your honor and glory. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. We're going to move to item 5 on the agenda, the approval of the minutes
from the council meeting May 17, 2021.
I have a motion to approve.
So move. Second.
I have a
I have
motion by
Councilmember
Councilmember
Zinner,
Zinner,
seconded by Councilmember
Boyer.
Boyer. Questions or comments on the minutes?
All those
All those in favor
say
say aye.
Aye.
All
All
opposed
opposed
say
say
nay.
nay.
Motion
Motion
approved.
approved, the City Council meeting minutes, May 17, 2021, carried 6-0 in the affirmative. Item B, closed session minutes from the May 17, 2021 council meeting. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember
Councilmember
Boyer.
Boyer.
I'm sorry.
Was it?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
Zinner.
Zinner. Sorry about that, Carol.
Motion
Motion by Councilmember Zinner,
Second
seconded by Councilmember Robertson.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Closed session minutes for May 17, 2021 are approved 6-0 in the affirmative.
We'll now go
Now
to
to
item number 6
on
on
this evening's agenda. Comments from citizens on
agenda
agenda items. This is the part of this evening's meeting, if you wish to speak on an item that is on the agenda for this evening, this is the time to do so.
If you
If
are
you are
here
here this evening to speak on any other matter of city business, we do have a, that's not on the agenda, we do have a spot at the end of the city council agenda at item 19.
So
So if you're here to speak on city business, please raise your hand to be recognized. Although I do have one filled out form, so I'm going to call on the fill that form first, then I'll call on the audience at large. So I'd like to call Gene Weaver. Good evening and welcome.
And please have
Please have your name and
address
address for the record.
My name is Jean Weaver. I live at 655 Alliance Street here in Havre Grace.
Welcome.
Thank you. A few months ago, the Lord laid on my heart to organize a community hymn sing. So before you tonight, there is an application for an event called Second Sunday Hymn Sing that I hope you will approve. All throughout my life, singing hymns in church has been an integral part of worship. But now so many churches have gone to contemporary music and no longer use hymns in their worship services. So I believe that there's several generations of people out there who love and miss singing the hymns. And I'm hoping to give them a blessed and joyful time of singing hymns for an hour on the second Sunday of June through September at Hutchins Park from 5 to 6 p.m. I have coordinated this event out of obedience to what I believe the Lord has asked me to do, and now I ask for your approval so that I can bring it to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much. Thank you.
Okay,
We'll call on the audience at large. Is anybody here to speak on an agenda item? Yes, ma'am.
Good
Good
evening
evening and welcome. May we please have your name and address for the record?
Julie Bunky, and it's 311D Redhead Way in Havre, Greece.
Welcome.
Thank you. And I'm here to speak about the Pirate Festival. This is we've been doing the Pirate Festival for many years. This year it'll be combined with the Waterfront Festival in August 21st, 22nd. So the whole city will be overrun with pirates. Not just the lockhouse, they will be running rampant on the shuttles and everywhere else. Mostly we'll try to keep them to the lockhouse. We will have all our pirates with the cannons and the swords and the games that they play. We will have our mermaids back. We will have swordsmen. We will have a catered lunch and dinner for people who don't want to do food trucks. They can come and sit down and eat with the pirates, and the pirates will come and steal their food. And in general, it's going to be a lot of fun. So we've done this. Pirates have learned how to behave with us, and we're looking forward to hoping you'll improve it so they can come back.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Rankin.
Any
Any other citizen in the audience wish to address the council on an agenda item? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Trishana Owl. I'm with the Havre Grade School Museum. And we're doing the Arch Wine and Jazz Festival August the 7th. And I just wanted to bring to the attention, hopefully you voted for us to have it. We've done it, this is our 4th one. If we're able to do it, it's going to bring tourism to the community. It's a lot of fun for the residents of the community, and just hope for you guys to support it. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any
Any other citizen wish to address the council on an agenda item? Any comments from the council? Okay, excellent.
We will move on
to item number 7.
Item
Number 7 is appointments. We have 2 appointments this evening. One is a reappointment, one is a new appointment. And the first one is an Arts Commission appointment, and I will refer to the council liaison to the Arts Commission, Councilmember Renner.
Yes, this is for Janet Carrick, who has been a member of the Arts Commission for some time. So I would highly recommend that Janet be reappointed to the Arts Commission. She's a valued volunteer and does a lot of extra work keeping things moving for the Arts Commission.
Excellent. I have a motion by Councilmember Zinner. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Martin. Questions or comment on the reappointment of Ms. Janet Carrick to the Arts Commission?
I pretty much made my comments. But yeah, one of the things that Janet does do, though, is she keeps track of all of the medallions and sets that up at different festivals and things like that. So again, I'm glad she's signing on for another term as a commissioner.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Councilmember Zinner. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The reappointment of Ms. Janet Carrick to the Arts Commission carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much, Council. Item B is a Tourism Advisory Board appointment, and I'll hand that off to the Council Liaison to the Tourism Advisory Board, Councilmember Martin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. I make a motion to add Rebecca Cole to the Tourism Advisory Board.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Robertson. This is for the appointment of Ms. Rebecca Cole to the Tourism Advisory Board. Questions or comments on the appointment? Councilmember Robertson.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. First of all, I'm hoping that the rest of my council members will support this appointment. I really appreciate the mayor's endorsement and Councilmember Martin's endorsement on this appointment. Ms. Cole is a very smart woman, very energetic and very proactive, and I think that she's going to be a great addition to the Tourism Advisory Board. I think she has some great insights and a lot to offer. So I'm really thankful when good folks want to step up and volunteer.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Any other questions or comments on the appointment? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The appointment of Ms. Rebecca Cole to the Tourism Advisory Board is approved 6-0 in the affirmative. We're going to go to item number 8, oath of office. We have one new appointment, and that's going to be Ms. Rebecca Cole. If you could please join me up front, I would swear you in.
We're high
We're
tech.
getting very technical here, okay? So. You're good, you're good. Just stand right there and then the whole world can hear us. So. First of all, I want to thank you for being willing to serve time on the Tourism Advisory Board for the City of Havre de Grace. As you know, the City of Havre de Grace does a lot with tourism, obviously, and so we're always looking for great input, great minds to help guide the city and make the best decisions moving forward. So, and I've met you several times. I know you're very involved with the city. I know you're very involved with your business and realty business. So I think you're going to be a great addition, and I thank you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask you to take the oath of office. I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. Then I will say the word I. When I say the word I, repeat the word I, but also say your name. Okay? Please raise your right hand. I,
Rebecca Cole,
do solemnly swear that I will fulfill the requirement of the office I'm about to assume. I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland and support the Constitution thereof. And that I will faithfully and impartially, without fear of favor or prejudice, discharge the duties as a member of the Havre de Grace Tourism Advisory Board to the best of my ability. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. Appreciate it. Mr. Mayor, can I do a picture? Oh, yeah.
Here's what we're supposed to stay down there. We got another one coming. Recognition.
Okay, item number 9 is presentations. This evening, we have no presentations, which takes us to item 10. Item 10 is going to be a recognition. This is a big deal, kind of, at least, for the city of Havre de Grace, because I'm about to call forward a young lady who a lot of people know, especially if you ever had school-age kids that went through the Havre de Grace public school system here. And if you've ever gone to a play at Tidewater, whether it was the old Opera House, new Opera House, then you know who this lady is. I'd like to call forward and recognize a lifetime of achievement here in the city of Havre de Grace, Miss Lori Starkey, and any friends and family that wish to join her. Sure.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're moving.
I'm moving. Yeah, it's weird. I'm Havre de Grace all the way. I was born here. I grew up here. I went to school here, graduated here, came back to teach here. But I'm in a new phase in my life where my husband's family is all thriving down in Florida, and I don't have a lot of family left here. Lots of friends, but no family, and it's time to be with family for a little bit. So I'm not saying I'm not coming back, because there's a very good chance I'll be back, at least visiting often, but
So Florida,
yeah,
Florida,
yeah,
huh?
Florida.
First off, are we picking up all the sound? Okay, all right. I just want to make sure everyone at home can make sure we hear us. We used to share the microphone.
Yeah.
And we bought this, so
And this rotunda.
you know all that
Yeah.
stuff. But anyway, so 33 years teaching?
26 at Havre de Grace Middle.
26 at Havre de Grace Middle School. Wow, that's like dog years.
Middle school, you should know,
I
yes.
know, that's what I tell everybody. It's like I should be able to retire after 7 years. But no, that's amazing. So I knew you vaguely when I was on council, and when you ran the plays at the old Opera House before it got renovated. But then my daughter went through Havre de Grace Middle School.
And your son.
And my son. And I'll tell you, I mean, not just as a classroom teacher, they loved you, but you really brought out a love for drama with my daughter and my son. I mean, they're just, the way you do it, the way you work with kids, you always do your New York City Broadway trip every year. I mean, and I remember, but most importantly, a couple years ago, the Destination Imagination team from Havre de Grace Middle School went to the Grand Poobah of all events out in Kansas City. And that was quite a stretch to not only train those kids to get them there and work with them locally through all competition, but then it wasn't a cheap date to go to Kansas City and take all those kids. And so the fundraising you did, I remember like meeting you at night in the parking lot at the activity center and getting Krispy Kreme donuts and all these things. And so like nowhere is it written in your contract you have to do this stuff. And I want everyone to know that. I've been working with teachers all my life, and I really have never seen a teacher like you. And I mean that. So I mean that's why I mean like it's a big deal to recognize Lori for all she does, not just for the city of Havre through the drama program stuff, but you're definitely going to leave a void in Havre de Grace Middle School that's not going to easily be filled. But that's enough of my talking. Is there anything you want to say about your time in Havre de Grace?
When I found out that I was going to be recognized today, I'm like, I'm a teacher. I'm just a teacher. So many teachers have come and gone, and so I've worked with so many tremendous people at Havre de Grace Middle School. It's truly one of the best kept secrets in Hartford County, and anybody that has the opportunity for their kids to go to Havre de Grace Middle School should be, over the moon excited, because it's a great place to be. I know middle schools get a bad rap a lot, and it's just a great place to be. And I think the people that are clamoring to get into Havre de Grace and teach at Havre de Grace are proof of that. The stuff I did outside of being a teacher, I did out of pure love of doing it and wanting to share that. I had lots of kids coming. I can remember casts of over 100 at the middle school, because I can say it now because I'm not doing it anymore, but I cast every kid that auditioned. There wasn't a child that I turned away. I found a place for everybody, because experiencing live theater and being on stage is something you just can't duplicate. And I was hoping that those kids, when they look back on their middle school years, that would be one of the big things they might not remember what they learned in my 6th grade science class, or my 7th grade science class, or my 8th grade science class, or my 6th grade language arts class. I taught everything. Being elementary certified meant they could put me wherever they wanted me, and I would often volunteer for it. So I was, they might not remember those things until maybe when they're adult and they go, I can read this paragraph because Mrs. Starkey, but hopefully they remember those experiences and being on stage and how it felt to perform in front of people and express themselves in a way that, you can't necessarily do in the classroom, or at least we hope they don't do it that way in the classroom. So I did it because I love it. And then if we want to talk about Tidewater, also complete labor of love. I did my first show there in 1979. Am I right, Loma? I think it was 1979. I think I was a sophomore or junior in high school. I did my first show. Yes, Love is Contagious. Yep, with these folks sitting here. And I met Harry Malin, and Harry, Harry's started Tidewater Players, and he often said, a community is only as strong as its thriving arts community. When you've got thriving arts, that's a sign of a really healthy community. He was bound and determined that Havre Grace have a community theater, and so he started Tidewater Players. And at some point, Harry bowed out, and it was about the time that I was coming in, and so for 18 years, I served as president of Tidewater Players and directed a ton of shows and helped Dickie Mahoney run the children's program. I let him take lead on that because summers, teacher wants to not be in charge of kids. But I was still there and helping. And so that's been an absolute labor of love. And seeing it continue is very, very important to me. So our last board meeting, Dickie was sworn in as our new president. I'm going to be a member at large and hopefully remote into the meetings. But, that's very important that continue to thrive here in Havre Grace because it belongs to Havre Grace. It belongs to the town. It is, the community theater. And we've done some crazy things, as you've seen over the years.
Well, I know, they were great.
It's been a labor of love. It's been something, and my whole family, all of them standing here, we're part of that. We're in the shows, we're backstage, we're...
The Full Monty is one of my favorite ones. So I just have to say.
We had a half a car.
I didn't think they were going to be able to pull that one up, but the Full Monty had me rolling.
And we had a half a car on
My
that stage.
only regret was just by my calendar, I saw the last weekend that you were doing it, and I just regret, I didn't see the first weekend. So, no, but everything you've done, the Christmas Story, everything.
It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. And a lot of people, in the theater community at large, they look at Tidewater, the stage at the Opera House, it's pretty small when you look at it compared to most places. And they would often say, oh, you can't do Beauty and the Beast on that stage. Well, not only have we done it twice. And full sets, full costumes, you name it. So we've always had that kind of little theater that could mentality, and always, if somebody said we couldn't do it, that meant we were going to try harder. We were going to say, yeah, we can do it. We're doing it right here on this stage. So,
Well, you set the standard.
Well, I appreciate that. So it's going to be hard, and I'm going to be sitting down in Florida going, Dickie, what's going on? What's happening? What are you doing next? So yeah. And I told Dickie too, I said, I'd love it if I find a part-time, because, I'm going to have to work a part-time job. I'm not going to sub, though. No. So I'm going to do something, and I hope I find something flexible enough that maybe I can come up and direct something every so often.
That'd be
part of it. So hopefully I'm not going for good.
Love to see you. Any family members want to say anything?
She was wondering who came to you with the idea of the presentation. I never told her, but yes, it was me.
Aww.
I didn't know that. He knows I hate being on display. I hate it. So yeah.
But I recognize what she has done for this city and the hours and hours of dedication and love that she has, both for the school, for Tidewater Players, for the community of Havre Grace. So I couldn't let the opportunity go by for to discuss that with you. And
I'm glad you emailed me. When I got your email on Friday, I'm like, we can do this, but I'm good.
My greatest regret was I had hoped this year I would do a show with my kids on that brand new auditorium stage. And it's still, I'm so bitter about that. We had a faculty meeting in there today, and I just was sitting there going, man, I wanted to do a show here so bad.
It's a beauty, isn't it?
Oh gosh. The community should be so proud of all the efforts. I remember seeing you at a lot of the things that are fighting
for our kids and fighting for that school, because it's gorgeous. And that stage and that theater is out of this world. It really is. So I wanted to get, my middle schooler suffered through doing shows in that gym for years. The big old
Without air
chairs.
conditioning.
Yes, well, the parents are faking and sweating. But I wanted to, give them that opportunity to see what it was like to do it on that big stage. So there are some faculty members who are banding together and want to continue it. So I said, call me. I'm a phone call, email away. Call me. I'll tell you where to get costumes. I'll tell you where to find everything you need. So I'm
Well,
hoping.
they got big shoes to fill, so
Yeah, well,
that's,
thank you.
you definitely
Thank you.
left a legacy. So, Council President, any words?
I've always said two things. One, teachers are our unsung heroes, and I firmly believe that. But the most important thing I've said is people who care tend to make a difference, and you're living proof of that. What you have done in the classroom, what you have done with our players, and most importantly, what you've done for our youth, is outstanding. And I gotta tell you, you leave some tough shoes to fill. You're gonna be sorely missed. If I had one wish, I'd talk you into one more year so you can do that performance
On
on
that
stage.
stage. Yeah, it's
So
just,
we wish you nothing but the best in all future endeavors.
Thank you.
And you're always welcome back, because I'm Grace is your home.
and the Glenn family, I know from his wife from years in the High Steppers. I don't know if you've ever
Yes.
heard of the High Steppers from the American Legion. I was a High Stepper way back in the day.
Yes.
So
Wow.
yeah,
That goes way
the
back.
Havre Grace roots go way back. They really do.
We know you'll come back here, Lori. We'll see you soon. You'll be directing something before you know it.
I
So,
will.
well, I'm going to read this recognition to the record, if you don't mind. City of Havre Grace, Maryland, recognition, Lori Starkey. Whereas in recognition of Lori's 33 years of teaching in Harford County, she has 26 of those at Havre Grace Middle School, where she not only inspired her students in science, but also tirelessly introduced them to theatrical arts with the Drama Club, the annual musical, and the annual New York City trip to the Broadway show. And whereas in addition, we recognize Lori for 18 years of dedicated service to the Havre Grace community as president of the Tidewater Players, where her leadership and artistic vision attracted large audiences and talented performers, Hartford and surrounding counties and Delaware, springboarding Havre Grace to the forefront of a cultural arts town in the state of Maryland and culminating in the efforts to create the Cultural Arts Center at the Opera House. Now therefore, I, William T. Martin, Mayor of the City of Havre Grace, along with members of the Havre Grace City Council, express our sincere and grateful appreciation and hereby extend our congratulations on her well-earned retirement and our best wishes to her for continued success, happiness, and good health for years to come. Sent to you, Lori. Thank you very much. Can we grab a picture real quick with everybody?
Hey, Starkey. Hey, Starkey. They said you were their favorite kid, favorite teacher.
I just see right now that I had to start last year. It's so sweet to hear. You know, that's why we do it. You know.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
We'll have to go through direct administration then. That's it, this is your last one.
I give you another hour. Long meeting, give him two. I think he's getting attention.
Oh, little inside joke.
Everything's good. All right, Lori, thank you.
she's running out for a hug.
You're Sydney.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 11, proclamations. This evening, we have no proclamations. Item 12, resolutions. We have one resolution in the queue. It's a calendar resolution concerning an MOU with the Havre Grace Green Team, and I'm going to hand this resolution off to the Green Team liaison, that would be Councilmember Boyer.
Mayor, I make a motion that we adopt the calendar resolution concerning the MOU for the Havre Grace Green Team.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Boyer, seconded by Councilmember Martin. This is a motion to introduce a resolution. Do we have any questions or comments on the introduction of the resolution? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce a resolution concerning an MOU with the Green Team carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Council, this is going to be Resolution 2021-10. Madam Secretary?
A resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, pursuant to Section 33 and 34 of the City Charter and the Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, to authorize the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Havre de Grace Green Team LTD, as it relates to composting collection with Garrity Renewables LLC on city property.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Council, I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2021-10.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Boyer, seconded by Councilmember Ringsacher. Questions or comments on this resolution before the roll call vote? Councilmember Boyer.
Mayor, so what this resolution is to allow us to enter into another year of doing the composting down at Hutchins Park, and to allow us to be in a contract with Veterans Composting. We started off this as a pilot project for 6 months. It was overwhelmingly successful, and after a year, I am proud to let you all know that originally we thought we'd collect 1,000 pounds of composting every year, but to date, we've diverted over 30,000 pounds from the landfill to be used for fertilizer, which is a huge accomplishment for a pilot, like a starting program. And we're looking to make sure that we keep it as we have for at least another year, and the potential of expanding it in the future. We have been approached, the Green Team has been approached by several other communities because they want to know about it and want to know about the success and how to make it a part of their community as well. So again, Havre de Grace is being very progressive and leading the way, and protecting our environment as we're doing it. So I ask you all to favorably consider this, and if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. Any other questions or comments on the resolution? Council, this is a resolution, so I will be doing a roll call vote. Councilmember Zinner?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Ringsacher?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Council President Glenn?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, Resolution 2021-10 concerning an MOU with the Havre de Grace Green Team is approved by this council.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 13, ordinances. This evening we have 3 ordinances on the agenda. I'm sorry, 4. I take that back. We got 4. 4 ordinances on the agenda. And the first one is the ordinance concerning the budget. and I will ask the Chair of the Budget and Finance Committee, Councilmember Robertson, to introduce it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to introduce an ordinance concerning the FY 2022 budget.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by the Council President. This is a motion to introduce on first reading the FY 2022 operating budget for the City of Havre de Grace. Questions or comments on the introduction of this ordinance? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce the fiscal 2022 budget carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This will be Ordinance 1054 for the City of Havre de Grace. Madam Secretary, could you please read a header into the record?
Yes, an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace by the authority of Article 11-E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and the Section 37 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of establishing the city budget for fiscal year 2022 by designating the annual projection of anticipated revenues and proposed authorized expenses for the City of Havre de Grace for the fiscal year 2022.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Council, do I have a motion to adopt 1054 on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by the Council President. Questions or comments before the roll call vote? Council President.
I just want to personally take time to thank Councilmember Robertson, who chairs our Budget and Finance Committee, and to all of our council members. We went through a very comprehensive public hearing. We had short order to really get our comments together because of the challenges of the pandemic and all the ongoing legislation in Annapolis. And you guys did a yeoman's job, and I just want to take the opportunity to say thanks, and your tireless dedication truly has paid off and got us to this point.
Thank you very much, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Robertson.
Appreciate that, Council President. I just want to take a moment and say thank you to our Director of Finance, George, and the outgoing Director of Administration, Patrick Seipolt, and the outgoing Chief of Staff for really helping us through this entire process. As Council President was saying, it was a little abbreviated because of the changes in Annapolis. We were about a month delayed from the normal process, so but they were able to answer all of our questions in a very expeditious manner. And of course, I have to say that, you know, the budget as presented was, again, a very thoughtful, I don't want to say lean budget, but I mean, it's a practical one. So, you know, your tax dollars are being spent in the appropriate manner, I feel. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and city staff, for making it all happen.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Any other questions or comments? Just want to clarify a comment Councilmember Robertson made when he said the outgoing Director of Administration, Chief of Staff. I saw a couple looks on people's faces. If you haven't been following along, or if you haven't seen the last couple of council meetings, my Director of Administration and Chief of Staff kind of switching roles a little bit. They're still going to be here. Just we're a little bit of reassignment. That's all. There's a couple of people I saw that looks on their face like, where are they going? Like, you know, canning the whole leadership? No, we're just, the Director of Administration is going to take on a new role for a couple of years for Director of Capital Projects. Because we have a lot of bond money from last year to spend yet, and plus there's a lot of federal money coming, and there's a time window to get it done. And then my current Chief of Staff is going to be Director of Administration if Council approves his contract. So they're not going anywhere. They're just reassigning roles. So just for clarity. But I'm glad you said something, Councilmember Robertson. I just wanted to clear that up. Okay. So, thank you, Council. Any other questions or comments on the Ordinance 1054? Council, I'm going to do a roll call on the first reading for Ordinance 1054. Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilman Ringsacker.
Yes.
Council President Glenn.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, ordinance 1054 concerning the city's operating budget for fiscal year 2022 is adopted on first reading. Council President, the charter says we have to approve this budget by the second meeting in June. So that would mean to have a public hearing. We'd have to have it on off council meeting night. Does next Monday, June 14th, work for the council?
Absolutely.
All right, what time would you like to have it? 6?
6.
Okay. We will have a public hearing on next year's operating budget on Ordinance 1054 next Monday here at City Hall at 6 o'clock. It's not a council meeting night, but we do have to have the public hearing before we have the vote on the 21st of June. So, budget public hearing June 14th, 6 p.m. Okay, item B, ordinance concerning amendment to Chapter 25 to add the Independence Day Commission. First reading, the Liaison to Independence Day Commission, Councilmember Zinner.
Thank you. I make a motion to introduce the ordinance concerning amendment to Chapter 25 to add the Independence Day Commission.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Zinner, seconded by Councilmember Robertson. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance. Questions or comments on this introduction? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance concerning Independence Day Commission carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This is going to be Ordinance 1055. Council, Madam Secretary, can you please read the ordinance's header into the record?
An ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Havre de Grace pursuant to the authority provided by the Maryland Constitution, Article 11-E. The local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland and City Charter, Sections 33 and 34, amending the City Code, Chapter 25, adding a new Article 9, Section 25 through 50 through Sections 25 through 54, Independence Day Commission.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Council, to have a motion to adopt Ordinance 1055 on first reading.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Zinner, seconded by Councilmember Robertson. Questions or comments before the roll call? Councilmember Zinner.
Thank you. Yes. This will allow the Independence Commission to move to a permanent status with this change. They've been in existence since 2017. It's a relatively small commission, only 7 individuals, but they have done an exceedingly wonderful job of pulling everything together, gathering volunteers, working on themes, working on fundraisers to pull off the Independence Day festivities, including, probably most importantly, the parade. So this is something that we really need to approve in terms of permanent commission and continue to support this commission that does so much work throughout the year that's almost invisible to many people, but come July 4th, everything's on parade, so to speak. So I want to thank all the members, and I'd like to see this pass without a problem.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Zinner. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Roll call vote, Council. Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Council President Glenn.
Yes.
Councilmember Ringsager.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, Ordinance 1055 concerning the permanent addition to the Independence Day Commission into the city code is approved by council. And Council President, we need a public hearing on this because it is an ordinance. How about the next council meeting?
Next council meeting at 7 p.m.
All right, sounds good. Okay, the public hearing on this ordinance will be June 21st at 7 p.m., the next council meeting. Item C, ordinance concerning amendment to Chapter 25 that involves the Cultural Exchange Commission. And I'm going to hand that off to the liaison of the Havre de Grace Cultural Exchange Commission. That's Councilmember Boyer.
Mayor, I make a motion that we adopt the ordinance to amend Chapter 25 to add Cultural Exchange Commission.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Boyer, seconded by Councilmember Ringsager. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance on first reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in... Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance concerning the Cultural Exchange Commission carries 6-0 in the affirmative on introduction. Council, this is going to be ordinance 1056. Madam Secretary, can you please read the header of this ordinance into the record?
An ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Havre de Grace pursuant to the authority provided by Maryland Constitution, Article 11E, the local government article of the annotated code of Maryland, and city charter sections 33 and 34. Amending the city code, chapter 25, adding a new article 15, section 25 through 90, through sections 25 through 94, Cultural Exchange Commission.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Council, do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1056 on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Boyer, seconded by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments before the roll call? Councilmember Boyer.
Mayor, so I can't remember how many years ago. COVID has just completely messed up how many years ago that we went to Mumbles.
2 years ago.
2 years ago we went to Mumbles, and it was a fabulous experience. And last year they were supposed to come to visit with us. And we created a commission to help coordinate that, and that's the Cultural Exchange Commission. So through this past year, they've met very regularly via Zoom, wonderful chats, and have even expanded their outreach to a city in France, and had lots of conversations in French and, with our Mumbles partners, et cetera. So it's been a great experience. But to help formalize this experience and to make sure that we can continue this going on, we'd like to make this into a more permanent commission. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows the purpose of it is to establish, coordinate, and develop an international community that fosters friendship, commerce, education, tourism, awareness, and an understanding of the city of Havre de Grace. So these are the people who reach out for us beyond our borders and make sure that everybody feels welcome when they come to Havre de Grace. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Council, I'm going to take a roll call vote on ordinance 1056. Councilmember Ringsager.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Council President Glenn.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative. Ordinance 1056 concerning the addition of the Cultural Exchange Commission to the City Code is approved. And CP, you want to do the public hearing at the next council meeting as well?
June 21st, 10 p.m.
Okay. Public hearing on this ordinance will be June 21st at 7 p.m. In case anybody at home is new to watching city council meetings, I'm just laying this out there. A resolution can be voted on and passed in one evening. Anything that is a change to our city laws, have to have a first reading, which is what we're doing tonight. There needs to be a public hearing on a separate date, and then there needs to be a second reading and adoption. So just, if we have new viewers, new people in City of Havre, that's how laws are passed. It takes time to pass a law, which it should. But anyway, that's why if you're hearing people vote and approve it and you're not quite sure why we're having public hearings, but so that's why. So all these were first readings for ordinances, and we'll have a public hearing later, and then second reading and adoptions at subsequent council meetings. So we have one more ordinance this evening. It's another first reading ordinance, and that's going to be ordinance concerning an amendment to our Youth Commission. And I will hand that off to the Youth Commission liaison, Councilman Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to introduce an ordinance to amend Chapter 25 of the Youth Commission to establish a youth scholarship program.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Ringsager. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance concerning the Youth Commission, establishment of a scholarship program. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance concerning the Youth Commission Scholarship Program carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This is going to be ordinance 1057. Madam Secretary, can you please read the ordinance header into the record?
An ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11-E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the City Charter for the purpose of amending City Code, Chapter 25, Article 7, titled Youth Commission.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Council, I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1057 on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson and seconded by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments? Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a friendly amendment. If you go down to line 68 on page 2, right before the word may, I want to strike that word and make it shall. So the sentence will read, additional funds that the commission shall raise on its own as a result of its fundraising activities. Does that satisfy what we discussed, Council President?
Point of
Yes.
order.
So line number 68.
Hold on one second. You just have lines up? Oh, hold on. Okay, I see where you, okay, thank you very much. I was looking at the wrong thing. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no worries.
Okay.
So line 68, page 2, and it's that very first word. We're striking the word may, and we're adding the word shall. So the commission shall raise on its own as a result of its fundraising activities. Essentially, we're ensuring that the commission will raise its own, it will have its own fundraising activities for the scholarship program.
Okay, I'm gonna need to take that as a form of a motion if you don't mind, only because I
So
think shall and may might be a significant change, if you don't mind.
Roger that.
So, motion by Councilmember Robertson to change may to shall on line 68. Do I have a second?
I'm second.
Second by Council President. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You have a question?
Actually, changing the word shall, if I may, Mayor, changing the word shall impacts the word or on line 67. So shouldn't the line 67, the or be changed to and? Instead of or, it should read, provides to the commission under the annual city budget or from additional funds that the commission shall raise. It should read and from additional funds if that's the intent of changing the word shall from may. I mean, I'm fine with it, just proper language.
Sure. Anything for you, Jimmy.
Thank you, sir.
So can I amend my amendment?
Amend your amendment.
I amend my amendment to include striking the word or on line 67 and striking the word may on line 68 and adding the word shall. And?
Change or to and.
Changing or to and.
Okay, I got you.
I concur.
Okay, any further questions or comments on the amendment?
Not that amendment.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Councilmember Robertson's amendment carries 6-0 in affirmative.
Perfect.
Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Zinner?
Yes, I have a friendly amendment on line 55, where it says youth scholarship program open to Havre to add the word grace.
Oh, all right.
Oh, typo, the word grace is missing?
Yes.
All right. All right. I'll just take that as a clerical adjustment. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
One more, Mr. Mayor, sorry.
Councilmember Robertson?
Lisa Patrick, is the descriptor included with the materials that folks are able to access? So the little, like, couple paragraphs that I wrote about the program, is that included with the ordinance itself for the public to view? All right,
We will ensure that it is.
I appreciate it. Then I don't think that we need to talk too much about it, but basically, the gist of this, folks, for watching at home, is to create a way for the commission to directly contribute stopgap funding to at-need or lower income families that are trying to send their kids to summer camp or after-school programs. We're not trying to take on the entire burden of the entire community, but it's the situations where some funding may exist in scholarships for, say, the Boys and Girls Club or the youth sailing program, but it doesn't cover the entire need for the child to go to those places for the summer. That's where the parents can apply for this stopgap funding, and we'll be able to make up the difference. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Boyer?
My daughter's not in high school anymore, so do we still have pay to play?
Yes.
So will this also be available to help students with pay to play?
So the idea is for sports programs as well.
Sports and band, I believe.
Yeah, so it's, the idea is to have a nice broad range of things that this could apply to, basically any extracurricular activity that a child's involved in. And again, it's not to pay the entire thing for each child, but, it's to make up for where there might still be a need.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I got a few.
Council President?
It's no secret that I've always said that our youth are our most treasured and valuable resource, and they are, in fact, our future. And Jason, I got to say, when you spearheaded the effort to establish the Youth Commission, you undoubtedly had my full support. I thought it was a great idea moving forward. But now as we propose this next phase called the Youth Scholarship Program, I have a number of questions. I've tried to do research. I've been going back and forth with Jason with some questions, but I want to reinforce some of those questions because I think it's important for the council members and the public to understand this next proposal. We're talking about using money from the from the city budget. What specific dollar amount would you think the Youth Commission is going to be asking for to cover these scholarships?
So I think this first year, 15,000 for the whole year.
Now, has that been discussed at the Budget and Finance Committee?
No, it has not.
Okay. So with that 15,000, we don't know where that's coming from at this stage of the game.
Oh, we do know where that's coming from, Council President. So we have a number of vacancies that this budget's fully funding, and I assume that it's going to take at least the first quarter before we see those vacancies filled. And that's where I plan to make the budget amendment from, but I'd like to speak to the Director of Finance before I do that.
Okay. I know that in the city of Havre de Grace, we have other organizations that establish programs. One such case would be the Boys and Girls Club. And I guess my question to Jason was, how is this going to be any different than what we have with the Boys and Girls Club? So can you talk about maybe what programs they're not providing that you plan to provide, and what's the associated cost of those?
So I think, Council President, it's very important to understand that we're not setting up a program. The Youth Commission's not taking kids on, and, you know, we're just not setting anything up except for a funding means. So the Boys and Girls Club, it's $110 for a family to send a kid every week for their youth, for their summer program. So $110. There are, you know, scholarships and grants that are available to families. They don't always cover all families. They don't always cover the entire amount. So, you know, if you have a family that $110 might not seem like a lot to us for a week for childcare. I mean, to me, it's cheap, but to some families that are right on that cusp that might not qualify for the grant programs, that means a lot. And if we can help cover some of those expenses at any point, then that's really the purpose of the scholarship program. So the same is true for any organization in the city that has a similar mission. We're not establishing a program that's going to compete with the Boys and Girls Club. We're establishing a program that would help kids that are trying to go to the Boys and Girls Club's program fund it.
Okay, so I know there was some discussion about the possibility of camps, okay? And with that being said, because it's a city commission, comes under the premise of the city of Havre de Grace, if we pursue the concept of camps, we're going to have to probably we're going to have to go through the procurement process. Am I correct?
We're not sponsoring a camp. I want to make this absolutely clear. We're not creating a camp. We're not creating a program like a camp. We're creating a funding source for kids to go to camps that exist already.
Okay. So camps that already exist within in the community.
Yep. So youth sailing program, summer sports, you know.
Now, is there any particular summer sports that you're, I guess that you've talked about? I know, like I've been a long time Little League baseball coach, and I know through Havre Grace Little League, we don't turn kids away. I mean, I personally have sponsored numerous kids to ensure they got a chance to play. I served, I guess, for lack of a better term, a sponsor. I think football does the same thing, if I'm not mistaken, Jimmy. I just didn't know if there's a need out there that you've discovered as part of the youth mission that we're not capturing.
Well, I mean, some of our members have brought up, like, the Parks and Rec has, you know, a funding source that they use, and it doesn't always cover the entire need for the students, so I assume that that's what you mean when you're talking about sponsoring. And this would be a way to help offset the cost for the family or for Dave Glenn, so that you don't have to pay for every kid to be able to play ball. And it's just a way for us as a community to support our kids doing something constructive.
Okay, thank you. Another question is, we talked about the definition of underserved, and if I'm correct, we're going to use the free or reduced school menu as a determining factor for the definition of underserved?
So in the operations and the administration of the scholarship program, I think that we'll probably end up using the county's definition of underserved, which would be folks that qualify for the school and free and reduced lunch program. And that's only because, you know, it makes it a lot easier for the commission of volunteers to look at applications without having to look at personal finances. So if the family provides that letter, then you know, then that's a go. Right. Now, the other side of that, Council President, is you have families that may not qualify for the free or reduced lunch program, but still would find it difficult, you know, to send their kid to camp and bear the full cost of, say, the youth sailing program, $385 a week. So, you know, this would be an opportunity to help people on that cusp too, which is why we're still trying to fine-tune the administration of it. whether we're going to go by that definition, and this is what I spoke with the city attorney about, whether we want to go with the definition of, free and reduced lunch and underserved, or whether we want to open it up for anyone in the city and, just kind of use a different calculus or a different descriptor to try and weed out some of the applications.
Thanks. I know as I read through this, you said that if approved, the youth commission is going to adopt procedures for setting deadline for applications on an annual or biannual basis and deciding what criteria you're going to use for approving or denying applications. I guess I'm unique because I feel like that I like to have those details up front, to know what I'm voting on, to make an informed decision. Because, right now, when we open up, if approved, and we open up this opportunity, I think a lot of kids and a lot of families are going to jump on the bandwagon to try to participate if we can offset some financial concerns. And the question is what criteria that the youth commission would use in determining who's accepted and who's not, or if you're going to accept everybody and just do a prorated share. I think that's important to know that up front. I've always said the devil's in the details, and it's the fact that I don't have that in front of me just causes a little bit of concern on my part. But the other thing that I think,
well, Council President, can I address that before you go on?
yes.
So, number one, it's written right now as a pro rata. So it would have to be changed if we were going to change that and become, add levels of scrutiny. Number two, without an application process, there's no way that the commission could execute the funding. So it's not like, we approve this month in June, and by July, the Youth Commission can start writing checks. We can't do that because there's not an application process. So if you would feel better about having eyes on the application process, which I certainly understand, once those details are ironed out, it's absolutely a good thing. I just want, the first rule in public policy is you have to have the authority to do something. So you have to have the authority, have to give the commission the authority, then the commission can write the policy, which would be the administration of the application. It doesn't make sense for a group of volunteers to get too mired down in the details until we have this authority granted. So like after today, if we adopt it on first reading, I can certainly go back at our next meeting and we can start hashing out the details of the application process. But as it stands, I see this working for a biannual application process. So we'll have one due in August for like fall type activities, and then one due in May. So that's our second solicitation period is May for the summer activities, so that we can ensure that that all of these needs are met before those time frames start. We're going to lose this whole summer basically, not being able to execute this soon enough. We're really about 2 months behind where I would like to be, which is why we're sunsetting this program in 2 years instead of 1. So we're going to have an evaluation period. This isn't a carte blanche. It's not, just something that we're shooting from the hip on. It's something that I think council and the mayor are going to be very well aware of. We'll certainly be happy to report the progress as we go along, and within the next 2 years, it's going to be required in order for the future council to vote on continuing the program. So it's really a pilot program by nature.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason, for that. One other thing is, many programs establish a 501c3. Have you guys considered that option versus going through the youth commission?
Yeah, but many programs start as commissions and then develop under the community projects. If we see that we get to the point where we need to do that, then that's a conversation worth having. Right now, it's just a small group of volunteers, and it's really that would be a much larger undertaking and a much longer process to do. So, I mean, if the need arises, if this becomes successful, then yeah, it might make sense to move this as a program under Community Projects for Havre de Grace.
Okay. My last question is, could you just explain a little bit about the career exploration programs and the internships as part of this program?
So again, we're trying to capture a broad range of needs. So we've got, you know, the camps, the after-school programs, sports. And then the other thing that came up is, well, you know, say that you're a teen, 16 to 18 years old, living in the city of Havre de Grace, and, you know, instead of spending your summer at the track and field or at one of the camps, you're spending your summer, you know, as in an internship. Well, not all internships are completely free. Not all internships are completely paid. And they're kind of a necessity now if you want to get a job out of college. Just for an example, Council President, I had to do 4 internships out of my undergrad, you know, just to be competitive, you know. And we wanted to provide an opportunity to maybe offset some of the travel costs. So I gave you the example of, you know, if the internship is in Baltimore or DC, and, you know, they don't provide a travel stipend, well, not saying that we're going to approve it, but the individual could submit an application for, you know, like a Metro card or something, you know, $100 would go a long way to help them. And we're trying to just remove those small barriers that would be in the way of kids expanding their horizons.
Thanks.
Thank you, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Councilman Boyer?
My real job with, I run PTAC programs for underprivileged students, Harford County Public Schools, to provide them opportunities. Oh, yeah. So I run PTAC. It's an opportunity for underprivileged students to get a two-year degree, have an internship, and learn about computer science, and give them a heads up, give them a push start before, to encourage them to go on with pursuing the rest of a 4-year degree. The criteria used and the standard criteria used throughout the public school system is if a child is receiving free and reduced lunch. That's because it's a federally enforced program, and there's a lot of criteria with it, and you can't really debate it. So that's a very solid approach to use, and I think it makes a lot of sense as a first standard. That said, there are a lot of people within our community and other communities that make just barely over that, and have a whole bunch of children, and they just get spread out, or a single mom who makes just over that and, you know, is just trying to balance. So, you know, I think there's benefit and argument to using it, but to having flexibility outside of it for extreme circumstance or some other kind of circumstance. If the single mom has 2 children, one of which has a large amount of medical bills or stuff like that, or if there's some kind of crisis that recently occurred, a parent recently died, just to help them get to go. I mean, I think there's benefit to that. That said, I also want to say that a 501c3 as a startup might be a sledgehammer approach for just something that's a little push kind of project, which this sounds like. So I'm not sure if it's really necessary to go 501c3. But those are just the comments, just following up on your comments. I definitely think free and reduced is a good standard to start with. So thank you.
Councilmember Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. My concerns are our commissions are established to give guidance to the administration and make suggestions. And this, I believe, is beyond the scope of that. Haven't established a scholarship committee. Haven't, I'll give you an example, water and sewer. They would say we'd like to raise the water and sewer rates. It's up to the administration to make that determination whether we do it. We get capital project money or grants approved. The water and sewer can monitor them, but they're not the ones spending those funds. So I just have a little bit of legal sufficiency questions, and the city attorney isn't here to address those. I'd like to make a motion to table this till we have time to talk to legal counsel and get guidance.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Martin for, it's a table motion. Is there a second for a table motion?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Ringsager. There's no discussion on our table motion.
Oh, well, because I wanted to make a point of clarification with what Councilmember Martin just said.
But at this point, the motion has been made and seconded, unfortunately.
That's a shame.
Councilmember Boyer?
The motion?
Oh, the
So-
Motion to table
The motion tabled?
for legal, until legal sufficiency?
No, against.
No? Councilmember Robertson?
Nope.
Council President Glenn?
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner?
No.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Ringsager?
Yes.
By a vote of 3 noes and 3 yeses, there is a tie. Motion to table fails. Please continue, Councilmember Martin.
All right, if you want to let Jason address his comments that he started to make.
I think that's fair.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Robertson.
So, this came from the city attorney. This came as, there's a need that is being addressed, and I wanted to formulate how to do that. And between the city attorney and the council president being aware of much of our conversations and emails and correspondence, this passed legal muster according to our city attorney. I'd also like to make mention that we're passing this on first reading tonight. If it passes, we'll still have the opportunity under second reading for any questions, so you have a few weeks, to address any concerns with the city attorney. She'll also hopefully be here at the next meeting, which would be when we would bring this up again anyway.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. Any further questions or comments? Councilmember Martin, did you still want to hold the floor?
That's good.
Councilmember Zinner?
What I wanted to say is I understand what Councilmember Martin's saying in terms of the role of the various commissions as they're set up as part of the work to help the city. But I see the Youth Commission as a little bit different in terms of a mission statement and in terms of what they're trying to do here. The point is like with Habitat for Humanity, it's like you want to give a hand up, not a handout. And that's what I see this as an opportunity for underprivileged children to see a different side of things that maybe they wouldn't have an opportunity to see otherwise. So I do see the mission statement of this commission as being different than the mission statement of the other commissions that we have that are to advise and consent, so to speak, for the mayor and the council. I do agree, being on the scholarship committee for Seroptimus, that it's very difficult to have a set of standards. We go through it every year. Sometimes we don't have, one year we had 64 applications and we were awarding 13 scholarships. So it's tough when you're going through that and there are so many people that are worthy of getting that money. But I think that you have to trust that the members of the commission, when they put their standards together, they will learn as they look at the pot of money that they have and what they can give. They will learn how difficult it is. And do you look at need versus, for us, we look at need versus a 4.0 average and somebody that's going to MIT, let's say, that needs a whole lot of money and how much are we really helping them? But it's still, it's merit too. So I think once they define, and I'm not saying that this needs to be merit, it could be basically cost versus ability to pay. But once they determine what those standards are, to staying with those standards would be the most important, to have transparency there and acceptance of the program, I think, overall, as far as the community is concerned. My comment.
Thank you, Councilmember Zinner. Councilmember Ringsager.
I guess everybody else spoke, so I will too. I think it's a noble cause. I think it's a good idea in the right context. I don't think it's necessarily within the purview of the city government and with our budget to provide this social safety net for people who can't afford it. We already have items that we're looking down the road to try to figure out how we're going to fund these unfunded mandates that came from Annapolis. The issues with the minimum wage that we're addressing with the Wage and Benefits Commission, how we're going to have to scale up our city employees' pay and benefits just to match what's given to us by Annapolis. We need to find the money in the budget and take away from other things. Ronald Reagan said the closest thing to eternal life on earth is a government program. So just say that we're just going to push it out there for 2 years. We all know it's going to keep going. It's the same thing with these commissions that we change into other things. Once we start it, I don't think we're going to be able to stop it. That's why I think it was important to change the word "or" to "and" earlier in that on that line item. But I see the merit in doing this program. I just don't think that, first off, even though it comes from April, that's fine, from our city attorney. I've had other items that she helped me write that didn't pass legal sufficiency at all. It's not necessarily that she didn't know the legal sufficiency. She helped me write it upon the context of I asked her to write it, and those things didn't necessarily fall within those lines. I'm not saying that this is the case. I'm not accusing. But I personally don't believe it's in the purview of the city government under our charter to provide this level of social safety net. So I will be voting no.
Mr. Mayor, may I make one final point?
Thank you, Councilmember Ringsager. Councilmember Robertson.
I think that it's unfortunate that the example of commissions that was used was the Water and Sewer Commission. I think that's probably inappropriate compared to the Youth Commission. A more apt analysis would maybe be looking at the Arts Commission and comparing that to the Youth Commission. Both receive city dollars, both have the ability to spend city dollars directly, which is basically what this is asking for the allowance to do. It's just one more item that the commission, the Youth Commission, can spend money on, and it's directing the Youth Commission to spend that money directly onto this item. So I think it's perfectly within the purview of the commission, and it's perfectly within what it's already doing. But I understand what you're saying. I just don't look at this as a safety net. I look at it as one of the things that the Youth Commission can do to help youth.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. Any other further questions or comments? Councilmember Martin.
The concern I have is some of spending our tax dollars. I know one of the changes says they shall raise funds, but it doesn't say whether it's matching funds, whether it's going to be the city is going to be coming up with the funds. I know, like I said, how we spend our tax dollars is very, very important. The youth are a primary concern. But again, just not having a set of standards and guidelines, I'm just fearful of running a program. As you said, Jason, you think it's going to be $15,000, but we don't really have what the guideline's going to be, nor the guidelines of how it's going to be monitored or distributed.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Robertson.
So $15,000 is the ceiling, Councilmember Martin. It's not like we're giving the Youth Commission the ability to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on scholarships. $15,000 for those folks watching at home is small. It's a small amount of money in what this city spends. It's a small portion of what the city ends up with as a balance every year to turn over. And again, this is a small amount that we are approving in our current budget that is going to be sitting there and will likely end up as an ending balance for the end of the year. with just the personnel costs alone. So I really think that we need to keep in mind that, you know, I get it. You know, nobody's more fiscally concerned and prudent than I am, but, you know, to me, it's a small amount of money to pay to keep kids occupied during, you know, times when they likely be getting in trouble.
Mr. Mayor, I call the question.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Stark?
I called for the question.
Fair enough. Question's been called. We have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, a second by Councilmember Zinner. This is ordinance 1057. Roll call vote. Councilmember Boyer.
I vote no right now.
Oh, man, thanks.
Councilmember
vote
Ringsacher.
No.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
No.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Council President Glenn.
This was a tough one for me because I've said up front to Jason that I was concerned about taxpayer dollars being used for this. And in fairness to all the work Jason's put in to date, the fact that the city attorney's not here tonight, I would vote yes. Just to have the city attorney present so we could clarify some of the questions.
What's your vote?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 3 in favor and 3 against, motion to adopt ordinance 1057 on first reading fails. Okay. All right. Thank you, council. Item number 14, old business. This evening I have no old business. Item 15, new business. Item A, Father's Day Waterfront Celebration, name change to Summer Solstice Fest.
Okay.
We're going to do it with Director of Administration. Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Wait, I'm sorry. That's you, CP. Sorry about
Did I
that.
get promoted?
No, you don't want that job.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, just a point of clarification. I don't know if council was aware, but we were also changing the number of youth commission adult members from 4 to 6, so.
Was that all part of the same ordinance?
Yeah, it's in the same ordinance.
I know, but unfortunately it failed. It can probably be maybe rewritten, but the ordinance as it stands can't be brought for at least 180 days.
Roger that.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to introduce a name change. This event was previously approved as the Father's Day Waterfront Celebration, and we're going to change the name to the Summer Solstice Fest.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Council President, seconded by Councilmember Ringsacher. Questions or comments? Council President?
Basically, this is nothing more than a name change. Everything stays the same. They're hoping that by the name change, they're going to draw a bigger crowd for the event. So the idea is to get a bigger turnout for the event on Father's Day, and so I appreciate everybody supporting this name change.
That's pretty much all it is, name change?
Name change,
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Name change, Father's Day Waterfront Celebration, name change to Summer Solstice Fest. Approved 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much, Council President. We're going to go to item B, special events. Mr. Seipold.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Council. The first event for your consideration is the Second Sunday Hymn Sing. The event is sponsored by the First Baptist Church, located at 108 South Stoke Street. This is a multi-month event for 4 months, beginning June 13th and ending September 12th. They will meet and sing from the Community Pavilion at the Frank J. Hutchins Memorial Park. Setup would be at 4 p.m., with hymn singing from 5 until 6 p.m. The breakdown would occur immediately following the event, and they anticipate between 25 to 100 carolers. They will play recorded piano music to which they will sing church hymns only. It will be open to everyone, and flyers will be sent to all of the area churches. The public works expense for this is $103 to maintain bathroom facilities and the trash receptacles. There are no expenses for PD.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seipel. Council, have a motion to approve the event.
So moved.
Motion by Council President, second by Councilmember Robertson. Questions or comments on the event? All those in favor say aye. Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to approve the second Sunday hymn sing, June 13th, July 11th, August 8th, December 12th, 2021, from 5 to 6 at Hutchins Memorial Park. It's approved 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much, Council. Mr. Seipel.
Thank you, Mayor. Your second event for consideration is the Arts, Wine, and Jazz Festival. This event is sponsored by the Havre Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center, Inc. This is a one-day event to be held on the Lockhouse Museum grounds, rain or shine. They would like to begin set up at 9 a.m. The event would run from 12 until 6 p.m. They would break down immediately following the event. They anticipate 400 patrons to this event. Alcohol will be sold and given away. However, proper permit, staffing, and perimeter controls as required by the Liquor Control Board will be adhered to. There will also be a raffle as well. A first aid station and a medical professional will be designated inside the event perimeter. Public Works expense is $77.25 to maintain the bathroom facility. There is no expense for PD.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seipel. Council, I have a motion to approve the Arts, Wine, and Jazz Festival.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Council President, second by Councilmember Robertson. Questions or comments? Councilmember Martin?
I noticed there's been some change on some of our grant applications and some confusion. I know that the administration, I believe, is working with the people applying for these events. Trash collection and trash disposal is the responsibility of the event sponsor. I'm sorry. So the question is going to be trash collection and trash disposal responsibility of the event sponsors. Are we working with that to make sure that is happening now?
Yes, sir, we are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Martin. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Arts, Wine, Jazz Festival, August 7, 2021, from 12 o'clock to 6 p.m. at the Lockhouse Museum grounds is approved 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much, Council. Item number 3, Mr. Seipel.
Good evening. Thanks again, Mayor. The third event for your consideration is the Pirate Festival, or as we like to refer to it as the ARR. This event is sponsored by the Lockhouse Museum. This is a 2-day event occurring on the Lockhouse grounds. They would like to begin setup on Friday, August 20th. The event would begin on Saturday, August the 21st at noon and close at 7 p.m., then resume again on Sunday at noon and end at 5. The breakdown would occur immediately following the event. The anticipated attendance is 1,000 patrons. Alcohol will be sold at this event and will be managed by the caterer. Proper permitting, staffing, and perimeter controls as required by the Liquor Control Board will also be adhered to. First aid kit is available within the museum, and both the Ambulance Corps and the Susquehanna Hose Company will be notified. The public works expense is $103 to maintain the bathroom facilities. There are no expenses for PD.
Thank you, Mr. Seipel. Do I have a motion to approve the Pirate Festival?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Martin, second by Councilmember Ringsacher. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right. Pirate Festival, August 21st, 22nd, 2021, carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much, Council. Thank you, Mr. Seipel. And we're going to move to Director's Reports. And Mr. Seipel, you're up.
Well, thanks, Mayor. Good evening, and good evening, Council and citizens. On Thursday, June the 10th, the Thursday Night Live concert series continues, featuring one of my favorites, the B Street Band. This is a tribute band to the boss, live at the State Theater of Havre Grace. So from the heart of the Jersey Shore, Backstreets was the first band in the world to do a unique tribute to a live performer. Nearly 6,000 performances later, now named the B Street Band, they are still the hardest working tribute band on the circuit. They have played for large audiences of up to 15,000 to small audiences of 200. You will leave the performance wanting more. Doors open at 7 p.m. and the performance begins at 8. On Saturday, June 12th, the Bel Air Dance Academy presents Peter Pan at the Cultural Center at the Opera House. Join the Darling Children, Wendy, John, and Michael, as they fly away to Neverland with Peter Pan and Tinkerbell. Discover a magical land filled with fairies, mermaids, and pirates, where all your dreams seem to come true and children never grow up. They just become directors of administration. The performance begins at 12 p.m. Also on Saturday, June 12th, the Havre Grace Youth Program presents online youth open mic and super jazzy collages. Learn about jazz music and the art movement called Cubism. Play a song or two with your instrument and enjoy listening to others. You'll need colorful paper, markers, scissors, and glue. You may also wish to use magazine pages and a few printouts. This is a free event, but registration is required, and to do that, you'll go to the hdgoperahouse.org website for more information. And as you heard this evening, on Monday, June the 14th, we'll have a public hearing on the city budget at 6 p.m. right here in the council chambers. Beginning on Tuesday, June the 15th, and running through Saturday, June 19th, it's our very own Carnival on the Chesapeake. It finally comes back to Tidings Park Marina. Havre Grace's Carnival on the Chesapeake features exciting rides, entertaining games, delicious food, funnel cakes, and family-friendly fun for all. You can pre-order all-you-can-ride wristbands for a discounted price at www.haltoncarnival.com, and all the proceeds from this carnival benefit the Havre Grace Independence Day Commission. The Havre Grace Arts Commission invites you to attend their free live concerts in Tidings Park every Friday from now through July. Their performances begin at 7:30 and run until 9. Every Sunday through September, the Havre Grace Ambulance Corps is hosting Food Truck Sundays at the Ambulance Corps Pavilion right off Route 155. They'll be featuring between 5 to 7 food trucks each week, rain or shine. And the farmers market continues in fine fashion at Hutchins Park. They're open every Saturday, rain or shine, from now until mid-December. The market opens at 8:30 a.m. and runs until noon. And if you missed any of the information I just spoke about, and more importantly, for a complete listing of all the calendar events, please visit our websites at havregrace.com, explorehavregrace.com, and hdgoperahouse.org. And this concludes my remarks for this evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seipolt. Mr. Grimm's out here this evening, correct?
No, sir.
I think, well, I'm just making sure I wasn't. Yeah, just checking. Sometimes I know he's in the other room hanging out. All right, no problem. We're going to go with Mr. Doherty, our Director of Finance. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. First, I want to thank the Council for not only passing the budget, but their laudatory statements. I want to make it clear that the role of all the department directors in the budget process is that you make an informed decision and you feel comfortable that you understand it. And that is our role, and we take that very seriously. But we do thank you for the plaudits. In terms of the current condition of the finances, the general fund, the fund balance is sitting at just over $3.8 million, which is about $2.5 million ahead of budget. Half of that, we started the year ahead of budget, about halfway to that. And I feel like, listening to the discussion today, that I would be remiss in my role if I didn't caution how much of an anomaly this year has been because of the impact of COVID shutting down the city since March all the way through a couple months ago. And not that it won't happen, because we always have some unanticipated savings from people leaving, life taking people away. But just, I worry about the order of magnitude guesses on such an anomaly year and trying to project that forward, because I think only time will tell on that in terms of the order of magnitude. It's just a caution from me to everybody. because these numbers are quite large, as I'm speaking to them now, they're 5 times what they normally are. And again, I think it's the anomaly of the COVID that's driving this, and if the news that we hear is to be believed, going forward, I think we are going to be returning to normal, I'm happy to say. But that also carries with it that our expectations and what we try to accomplish, both in terms of personnel and like, will come closer to reality. And I am not doing anything but trying to just throw a word of caution to everybody at this stage. Salaries and benefits are below budget by about a little over $1.2 million. Grants are about $178,000 right now over budget, primarily because we cash flowed some that we did the work last year, and it took the state that long into this year before they gave us our money back. And we didn't include that in this year's revenue stream. I am happy to report income taxes, sounds strange to say that, are only $135,000 behind where we thought they'd be. Last council period, when I reported that was almost 500,000. So we've made a great leap forward, and that's an encouraging sign, even though we are still behind. Real property tax billings are running about $120,000 over the budget estimate that was established under the constant yield, and the likely cause of that, as you know, has been the development even through the pandemic that has gone on above the estimates of what the state Department of Assessments and Taxation put out there. Interest continues to run way behind because of the current rates being offered. We're about $84,000 behind budget where we thought we would be when we set up this year's budget. And the highway user fees are still continuing to be about $63,000 behind schedule. Those are kind of the high and low points of the general fund. The water and sewer fund, the current fund balance is sitting at just over $500,000. It's increased about $200,000 for the year. The operating profit for the water and sewer fund has been almost $2.15 million. Capital fees have been just basically $2.8 million, and we have, I'm happy to report, reached 69 of the budgeted 71 connections year to date so far. So it does look like we will hit that mark before the end of the year, if I don't jinx it by saying that. And capital projects and debt service payments have been about a little over $4.7 million as anticipated by the budget. The Marina Fund is sitting at a little over $975,000. It's increased about $155,000, which is about $50,000 less than a year ago, but that can be attributed to the fact that as we were accumulating this, we added some capital projects down at the marina, moving to the marina office, and also the fuel tanks and doing that work, which you guys did which the council graciously approved the budget amendments to increase those, and that's just the cash flow from those capital projects going through. And that's the current condition of the city finances, sir, and that's my report for this evening.
Council, any questions for Mr. Doherty? Mr. Doherty, thank you very much for the report.
Okay,
thank you. Good evening, Mr. Whitty.
Just to give you an update where we are on the capital projects. I know Patrick's been working really hard with us, and while he's finishing up and transitioning. So we're at the Allen Myers, with the project for the 12-inch water main from Havre to Grace Everett, and that contract was awarded to Allen Myers, and in the process of executing that and getting that project moving. I think we kind of fell back a little bit, but we're getting that thing moving forward as far as getting it constructed. We're in contract negotiations with Humphrey and Sons about the Commerce and Front Street sewer repairs, as well as contracts with Gettner for the 3 waterline projects at Old Bay Lane, Green, and Wilson. We had a bid opening May 28th on Girard Street. I have not awarded that contract yet to the low bidder, in the process of working that through. We had a bid opening this Friday for the engineering for that gray water study to repurpose the discharge from the wastewater treatment plant. It's sort of a project that I've talked about before. We're at about 57% capacity of our wastewater treatment plant, and it's kind of a good idea. At 80%, you have to do, the state of Maryland requires you to do a basic capacity management plan. So probably a good idea to get a jump on this thing where we could get if we can find a use for the gray water and kind of work that project in, and that would actually increase our capacity of our plants. Would generate, as I talked about before, generate some sort of financial revenues, as well as encourage industry to come in and be able to use the gray water to reduce their operating costs for water and their cooling systems, and hopefully get one of those weed factories in. I'm just kidding, but and then the bid opening, we had bid opening for the transmission line to replace the 8 and 10-inch lines that go up 155. We're in the process of working that through to award that to an engineer. The intake pipes were awarded to a company by the name of SUS, and Patrick's working in the contract negotiations for that. They're actually moving ahead and starting to order materials because of the situation we have with materials because of the COVID situation. I have a project we're moving on for the Lafayette Sewer rehab project I talked about before. I asked a couple engineers to put a bid together for that. Engineering bids, I've received 3 engineering bids for the Bully Rock Tower selection, so we're going through a contract, consultant selection on that. Stephanie Noy, doing what she does best, got a $150,000 grant for the engineering for the dredging. And so we're proceeding with put a request for proposal out for the engineering, to begin the engineering on the dredging operation. It's going to be substantial, with both the main channels being dredged as well as the slips. And then Jeff Keithley, the Burke statue, we're trying, that's going to be set up, I believe, sometime in July. We need about a 30-day cure rate on the pad, so he'll be working on pouring that the pitching mound, as well as the slab that the stadium seats are going to go on. So he'll be working on that this week. As we talked about before, and George talked about the fuel tanks, we never got any bids. I guess there was a panic about being able to get the supplies and the pricing, and for them to bid the project out, and then the prices would go up and they wouldn't be able to meet. Patrick's working on kind of reaching out to a couple different people to see if we can to just get that project moving forward. And then on the plans review side, Glenheim Farms, we're waiting for them to work out the public works agreements. The plans are approved, public works agreements they're going through with the lawyer. We're working that out between their attorney and April. I have Bully Rock is moving through with their development, parcel N, F. I think I have a couple concept plans in for P that I've reworked on. Greenway Farms, sections 2 and 3. I'm finishing up the road. Water and sewer plans are in final reviews. Then I received Cyan Hills stormwater concept plan, which I sent out this week. So we're overall, the department's pretty busy. Definitely really looking forward to working with Patrick in his new position to really help us out from as far as moving forward with this extensive capital projects program that we've got going on. So we'll be moving a lot of things, a lot of big things will be happening here. So it's pretty cool. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Woody. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
I'm sorry, Chief. Hold on, I'm sorry. I mean, did you have a question for Mr. Woody?
I did.
I apologize, Chief.
No, you're fine, sir.
We talked about the dredging. Have we got enough capacity now? Capacity for the dredge material?
That is something we're going to have to work out. We're looking at an option of, well, one is we don't have it at the DMP site there at Swan Harbor Farms. I don't believe we have the capacity for what I'm estimating. It's going to have to come out of the slips and the main channel. So we're looking at options as to whether or not that the Army Corps could actually take that. So is there a possibility that that would be their responsibility to take that on, and maybe they could use it in one of the island restorations they're doing out there more on the Chesapeake Bay. So that's something that we have to work on internally, that the city's going to have to try to solve to get that to the contractor once we make that selection.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Woody. Any other questions? Chief, thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This will be my last word on the torch run because it's tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. We will be kicking off the Special Olympics Maryland Torch Run tomorrow, June the 8th, 8 o'clock, at the Lock House North Park area. So once again, everybody is more than welcome to come out, and if you want to run, that would be awesome. If you want to buy a T-shirt supporting Special Olympics Torch Run, that's also great. And thank you. Councilmember Boyer has her shirt there. I thank you very much. I appreciate the plug. And it is a fun time, but it is just fun to support all of our athletes. And we do have some Special Olympic athletes that will also be there. And I also want to thank many of our businesses throughout our community, because a lot of them have purchased the T-shirts or hats, that type of thing, or they have also volunteered to sell the shirts for us as well. So I really do appreciate all those businesses that have been willing to do that. Thank you so much. The other thing I want to do is I want to absolutely thank, there's many people that we need to thank, but I really do want to thank the Susquehanna Hose Company, the Ambulance Corps, our City Code Enforcement, Mayor Yu, council members who came out a couple weeks ago. A lot of people have said that they're commenting on our drive-through lobby, and I tell them it's not drive-through, it's just a drive-in. We will get you out. And I know I'm kind of making light of it because it could have been a very, very serious situation. Well, it was a very serious situation. But what I'm really overwhelmed with is the support from our community. The positive comments that people have come in and talked to us about, have emailed us about, the support. We've had school students that took personal offense to it and said, this is our police department, this is our police station. They were very, very happy that no one was hurt. They made posters, we put them up in the lobby, that type of thing. So we're just waiting again to get all supplies in and get rebuilt, and we're still plugging along, we're still there, but I do want to again thank everybody and for all of the support that they've given us. It's been extremely overwhelming, and I really, really do appreciate it. The other thing I want to mention is this past First Friday was phenomenal. We had a lot of people in our city, despite the weather. We did have some tremendous downpours, but that didn't seem to bother anybody. So between First Fridays and the Jazz and Blues Festival, I thought it was a very, very nice event. But I do want to, again, remind people, please don't remove barricades or go around barricades or whatever. Don't move anything that we put out there because it is for your own safety. And we do ask that you do listen to directions of police officers and our auxiliary members as well, because again, it is for everybody's public safety. And then I am going to take this brief opportunity to not let a good chance go by, and my obligatory mention that we are accepting applications for recruit officer, lateral police officer, and police communications officer. Sorry, it's free advertisement, so that's what I'm going to do.
That's what we had to resort to now. I mean, we just put it up in the grocery store from now on, telling everybody we need police officers.
That's exactly.
No, I'm just kidding. No, thanks, Chief, and
Thank
keep
you,
doing
sir.
that.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to comments from the mayor's office. And I might as well just springboard off what the chief just said. Yeah, we're looking for officers. We've had several openings and vacancies, and we've had, as I mentioned at the last council meeting, we've had several of our officers resign the profession totally, mostly as a result of what happened in Annapolis earlier in the spring. But on that note, and we're working on recruiting. We have a couple cadets in the academy that'll be available probably around August, but we still have a few positions to fill. And again, it's not easy, because if you want good policing, you have to have good officers. And like any job in the world, you always want to screen. You always want a good job pool of applicants to pull from, so you can get the best people to move your organization forward. And I'm going to give you a really good example of that. And the chief was being very humble. But since we have met last at a city council meeting, we had an individual wish to deliver harm to a police officer. That was his goal intention. He got into his car and he tried to hurt a police officer. And they kind of corralled the situation a little bit until he got to the police station, and then as you all know, he drove into the lobby. Thankfully, there was no citizens at the ATM machine because there would have been no room between that car and the ATM machine. If you've ever been in a lobby, it's a very tight lobby. So thankfully, nobody was hurt. And when the individual got out of the car and then went towards the officers assessed the situation, holstered their weapons, and then took out a taser and handled it with equal force. Nobody got killed, and the person got arrested or taken into custody. That's good training. That's what good police training will deliver to you. It will deliver to you more times than not the best possible outcome in a bad situation. Doesn't always happen that way, but that's why you fund training for police officers. That's why you want a good pool of applicants for your community. And these are, and again, I bring that up because that is exactly what we've always preached in the city of Havre de Grace. It's good leadership that starts at the top with the chief, and we have good captains, and we have good officers. And our officers like working in the city of Havre de Grace. They like the community. And again, it wasn't us. It was people that we send to Annapolis to help us are the ones that made it such a bad situation that we're losing officers now. And it's not just us. It's everywhere. Almost every agency has shortages now of officers. So the good news is, if there is a good news, for us, once again, according to a reporting bureau called SafeWise, the city of Havre de Grace, once again, is listed as in the top 10 safest cities in the state of Maryland. Again, a direct result of good policing. Plus, we're good people anyway. Come on, Havre de Grace people are good people. It's the visitors you got to watch out for. I'm joking. No, but our officers are doing a good job. They're keeping the city safe. And, we're going to do everything we can as a government to keep that level of service to our citizens. And my administration works closely with the chief, and we'll take this one day at a time. We'll see what we do. With all that said, in the past I used to start talking about COVID numbers, and then I got to the point where I just quit talking about COVID numbers. But now I'm going to talk about COVID numbers again, just because it's fun. Because not fun, but it's good to see the reduction. In the city of Havre de Grace, in November, we had 146 cases. In December, Havre de Grace had 173 cases. In January, we had 224 cases of COVID in the city of Havre de Grace. February, 65 cases. March went back at the 140 cases. April was 138 cases. May saw a significant reduction. We went from 138 cases in April to 32 cases in May. And so far for the first week of June, first 7 days in June, we've had 3 cases in Havre de Grace. If you extrapolate that by 4 weeks, that's 12 cases. So the numbers are definitely, the metrics are looking better. And I know everyone watching this program right now, listen to me talk, I know you see the news too. And if you've seen the state reporting numbers, you've seen they've been below 100 a few times statewide. So is COVID over? No, it probably won't be over for years. It'll probably be a virus floating around called Corona-19, getting people sick in 2025. That's what the flu does. Viruses stick around for a while. But the point is, more and more people are vaccinated, or more and more people are immune to it at this point. And through time, it'll become something that, as a society and as through medical technology, we can handle a lot better. So, like I say, we're at the point now that, people have the option to wear a mask. The city is now coming back into its, into what we do as a city. We go outside, we see people, we're friendly. We take walks in parks, we go to restaurants. And on that note, First Fridays was this past weekend. It was an amazing event. It rained pretty hard for about 20 minutes. Everybody scattered. And then when the sun came out, everybody came back into the streets. I guess 14 months of COVID, a little bit of rain wasn't going to keep anybody from enjoying First Friday. So the event was very successful. Also want to commend the Arts Collective for, and all the volunteers. They had a ton of volunteers. The Arts Collective and all the volunteers for hosting another Jazz and Blue Festival that we had on Friday and Saturday at various parts of the city, downtown on Pendleton Avenue, and they had one at State Theater and then at Concord Point Park. And so we had a lot of stuff going on. Havre de Grace is open again. And, you know, we're trying to get back into our rhythm a little bit. You know, 14, 15 months off, it's hard to believe sometimes. You know, I always say, you know, we went from offense to defense, now we're heading back to offense. On a history note, a lot of people who are familiar with the story of John O'Neill, the hero of the lighthouse, or well, not the hero of the lighthouse, sorry. The hero of the War of 1812, who later became the lighthouse keeper when it was built. But John O'Neill, the story was, he defended Havre de Grace until he was captured by British land forces, by British Marines, and was taken on board a ship. His daughter, Matilda, heroically, young girl that she was, rowed out to the British warship and asked us to speak to the guy in charge. That would be British Admiral Cockburn. And that takes a lot of courage, actually. I mean, for a girl to board a British man-of-war, cannons, Marines, Navy guys, like that's pretty intimidating. These guys just burned your town, and the next day she wanted to go speak to the Admiral. And she did, and she pleaded with him that her father was not a spy, but he was a soldier in the militia, and that his resistance to the British landing was justified under the Articles of War. And Admiral, as the story goes, was so taken by the young lady's courage that he released her father into her custody and gave her a turtle-shelled snuff box. John O'Neill later became the first keeper of the lighthouse when it was built in 1827. So he's a pretty big name. But what happened to Matilda? Well, Matilda had a good life, a good Havre de Grace life. She was very involved in the community as well. But what happened to her, and where did she die? Where's her grave at? I personally didn't know. I'm sure there's some historians in Havre de Grace that might know that information. But she's buried in Greenmount Cemetery in Baltimore. So she's not buried here in Havre de Grace. Not like her father was. Her father was buried on Angel Hill. But Matilda's buried in Greenmount Cemetery in Baltimore. And a gentleman named Lyle Garrity, he's with the Joppatown Lions Club Foundation. He was doing some War of 1812 research on some veterans down in some Baltimore cemeteries. And he happened to come across this name, Matilda O'Neill. And he linked her to the story of Havre de Grace and why she was important and all that stuff. So her grave is down there at Greenmount Cemetery in Baltimore. And so he actually is working with the Board of Trustees of the Lions Club Foundation, the Harford County Historical Society, the Society of the War of 1812, and the Daughters of the War of 1812. And they'll be having a ceremony soon and presenting a plaque to be placed on her gravesite. And I forgot to write the date down here. Chief of Staff, do you know the date? It escapes me. I apologize. I didn't write the date down in my little speech here. Okay. Thank you very much. We don't have the new date yet, but if anybody wanted to make the trip down there, I'm actually have a friend of mine going down. Dr. Rosencrantz wants to go down, and the city will put a wreath. We'll get a nice little flower wreath to put on the grave. But again, it's in Baltimore, but she's a hometown girl. So we will give her recognition. So I think it's kind of cool. So Matilda O'Neill, his grave has been located at Greenmount Cemetery in Baltimore, and it's getting some recognition for being a very brave lady and her role of what she did. And Gymnasium and Auditorium transition update. The State of Maryland Board of Public Works has approved all the mechanisms involved and surplus in this auditorium back to the county, and the county's going to surplus it to the city of Havre de Grace. It hasn't taken place yet, but we are in the process now of doing this. And once that happens, the city and county will enter into an MOU for the property transfer. So, I mean, it'll be a very public thing. It won't just happen, overnight, but you'll know about it. It'll come to the city council meeting. Council will vote on it. And then we'll get a great big auditorium and a great big gymnasium and take it from there. Finally, I want to say, I mentioned this earlier in the meeting tonight, that there's going to be some administrative changes here in the city of Havre de Grace. Again, I just want to clarify for those just tuning in, who are hearing this for the first time. February of 2020, the citizens approved in a special election a $15 million bond bill. We're still in the process of spending that down on fixing important infrastructure for our water and sewer. We're also anticipating getting in the ballpark of $11.7 million from the federal government, part of the stimulus package that all cities are getting. And that also has to be spent or encumbered by December of 2024. There's a lot of projects that are going to be happening. And so rather than spending a lot of money on a project management company, we actually have an individual who is extremely talented at running multiple projects at the same time and running a city at the same time. But that would be Mr. Seipolt, the Director of Administration. And so we're doing a shift where we're going to reallocate Mr. Seipolt's title from Director of Administration to Director of Capital Projects. I've asked my Chief of Staff, and he's accepted to move from the role of Chief of Staff to Director of Administration. And we also are having a consultant come in to kind of fill in a bunch of areas of the city, as well as Chief of Staff. And I mentioned that a while ago. That's former APG Commander General Randy Taylor is coming up to be a temporary consultant. So again, we're trying to be very fluid in our management to handle what's coming over the next few years. This may, in 2-3 years, this may revert right back to what it was now. But right now, this is what we got to do. So, so we're going to go in a closed session towards the end of this meeting because the Director of Administration position is a charter position, and it's in the contract, or it's in the city charter, and the contract must be voted on by the City Council. So, but while I have you here, Mr. Seipolt, I want to thank you. I'm going to miss having you up here. I know you'll be in the audience all the time now, but when I first, when I went from this seat to this seat 6 years ago, I asked Mr. Seipolt to help me run the city as Director of Administration. And, it's been sometimes you think you know something, but you just don't know something. That's all I'm going to leave it at that. You really learn stuff, and Mr. Seipolt and I Patrick and I have been working hand in hand and learning together. I've learned from him, and we've learned a lot together. What it takes to be stewards of a city and of a government and of a budget and employees, and and all the things that go on with the daily happenings of a city. It's a multitude of things that take place on a daily basis. The pitches come very fast, and they're not always fastballs. Sometimes they're curveballs, sometimes they're knuckleballs. We always joke about that. So Mr. Seipolt, it's been a great 6 years. I completely attribute a great amount of the success we've had in this city to your leadership, and I mean that. You've been Johnny on the spot for almost every crisis we've ever had, every issue we've ever had to fix. And the citizens will never know sometimes all the things you've done just to make things work just right. Just recently, fireworks we had for Defender Day. An hour before the fireworks were supposed to go off, the barge was stuck in the mud on Water Street. And, and we had, and Mr. Seipolt was just sitting there talking to, the Vulcan headquarters down in Virginia, trying to get an extra tugboat. And it was just, and by some miracle, all these tugboats pulled that stuck barge off that mud by Water Street. Nobody even knew all the things that it took. And the fireworks happened, everybody clapped, everybody went home. But it was like the things that Mr. Seipolt does to make the city just work. I mean, it's the whole team. It's everybody for the city. But again, it's been, you've done a great job as Director of Administration. And I really appreciate taking on the role of Director of Capital Projects. That's definitely another talent you have that I've seen over the years with all the projects we've done in the city, whether it's the streetscapes, the uplights, the renovation of the Opera House, all the pickleball courts, everything that, and a lot of the water and sewer infrastructure projects. So I know this is going to be your forte. It's something you have a passion to do. We have money to spend and a short time to do it. So thank you. And I look forward to, and I thank my Chief of Staff, Steve Gamatoria, for being willing to take on the role of Director of Administration. I mean, in a lot of ways, you can argue they're very interchangeable, but they do have specific roles to them. One's a charter position, and one is a little bit different by its nature. But, Mr. Seipold and Mr. Gamatoria work hand in hand every single day, taking whatever job that gets thrown at them. Neither individual ever says, "Oh no, that's your job, not mine." Whoever gets hit with the issue first, they deal with it. So, again, I thank both of you very much, and I hope council. I look forward to taking council in a closed session to discuss the contracts. With that said, thank you very much, council, for your time. Let me speak. And we're going to move on to the first council comment. It's going to be Councilmember Boyer. Microphone, Casey, microphone.
This is driving me crazy. Thank you for supporting the Green Team and the Cultural Exchange Commission today. I want to thank everybody who came out for First Fridays. I was among the group standing underneath the tents as all of the water possibly from the sky was coming down all at once, and just to talk to the spirit of people in Havre Grace. Once the rain was going, everybody was hiding, and everybody was invited, come on in, be safe, etc. And then as soon as the rain stopped and the last drips came down and it was clear the sun was coming out, everybody came out, and then you heard this great big roar and cheering and clapping, and everybody was excited for First Fridays to go, and it was as if nothing happened. They all were ready to go. So this talks about the spirit of resilience of our community. I also want to thank the Arts Committee, or everybody who worked on the Jazz Festival. That was a fabulous experience, and here too another story. Helping out, there was a lot of people walking around just trying to figure out where do I go, etc. And you talk to people, they were coming from Delaware, they were coming from DC, they were coming from New Jersey and Philadelphia, and they're like, this is kind of cool, it's a cute little town, I really like this. One couple that I talked to, they wanted to know if it was far enough to walk, and then they wanted to know about place to eat, etc. And then they wanted to hear about what's up with this lighthouse and the cannon. And you got as an opportunity to tell them the whole story and how cool it is in our little town. Another lady that I talked to came from DC. She's a lawyer, works for one of the federal entities in DC, and she said, I've been looking for some place to move to when I retire in 2 years, and this is it. I've made my decision. I'm going to be moving here, and I'm a huge kayaker, and then we started talking about kayaking, etc. And she enjoyed the event at the State Theater, and that's what events like this do. It brings people from other places into our community. They get to see the town and feel the vibe and feel the friendship and fellowship, and they become Havre Grace citizens. So when you wonder why we do all these events, those are just some of the reasons why, because we can share our history with people, and we can share and grow our community and expand our families. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. Good evening, Councilmember Center.
Me too. Anyway, I want to, again, congratulate Janet Carrick on her reappointment to the Arts Commission. And while I'm talking a little bit about the Arts Commission, we do have openings for several volunteers. So if you're interested, please contact Risa Laird for an application. And we'll be more than happy to share some of the requirements to be joining the Arts Commission. The Independence Day Commission is quite busy. July 4th will be here before we know it. And I remember saying last year when we had to talk about the cancellation of the parade that sometimes things are much sweeter than when you give something up and then you get the opportunity to enjoy that experience again. So similar to what Councilmember Boyer was saying about our First Fridays, I think we'll be able to share that same type of experience when we're lining Union Avenue and watching the parade go by. The Independence Day Commission is also looking for some volunteers to be parade marshals. So they have those duties all lined up, everything written out. So if anyone is interested in that, please get in touch with me and I'll be sure that I tell the right person and you can fill out a slot in the volunteer spreadsheet and where you would like to be a parade marshal. So that's something that we're looking at. We're also working on the food vendors at this point. So I think we'll start off and you won't even think we missed a beat from last year. The Historic Preservation Commission generally meets on the second Tuesday of the month, and they are taking a hiatus this month, and their next meeting will be July 13th. Their chair for the commission will return from her long trip to Oregon with family, and we'll also be making the awards for the beautification awards. We had the preservation awards last month. We'll be having the beautification awards this month. So that's all I have for now, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Zinner. Good evening, Councilmember Robertson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Well, I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed that council suddenly developed a conscience about what we're spending. Because, 2 years ago, $40,000 is what we spent on speakers for downtown. These events that come up periodically, we spend thousands of dollars of taxpayer money on these events, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars on these taxpayer money on these events. And we do that because it's a quality of life. We want a high quality of life here in Havre de Grace. What I was proposing tonight would have had a ceiling capped at $15,000, which is 0.1% of the annual budget. 0.1% of the annual budget here in Havre de Grace. And, it's a shame that the idea of spending taxpayer dollars is now on the minds of some of my fellow council members who expressed that as the reason for saying no. Mr. Doherty, I want to make clear that when I was referring to the vacancies, I'm not talking about FY21, I'm talking about FY22. We have vacant positions that are clearly not anywhere close to hiring process, as emphasized by the chief's announcement for those vacancies. So the council has approved on first reading to fully fund positions that are not currently not currently filled. Anyway, I hope you all have a good week and a good summer, and I'll talk to you at the next meeting.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. Good evening, Councilmember Martin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens. Water and Sewer Commission will meeting this Friday at 3 p.m. Water and Sewer Commission will be meeting this Friday at 3 p.m. I want to thank the mayor and echo his thoughts about everything that happened with the police department and their use of common sense. The First Friday comments from Casey and the mayor, the Jazz and Blues Festival, to let you know how many this town runs on volunteers. There were over 94 volunteers on Friday and Saturday. So thank you to all the volunteers that came out. Thanks to Rebecca Cole for coming on board the Tourism Advisory Board. And that are my comments for tonight.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Martin. Good evening, Councilman Ringsacher.
Mr. Mayor, Council, citizens, just real quick, Havre Grace Youth Football Program is currently open for registration. We're a little bit delayed because of COVID. We're not doing the in-person registration. We're doing everything online. Most parents of school-age kids know what Team Snap is. You can go to the App Store on Google or on Apple, download the app for Team Snap, and search Havre Grace Youth Football. It's on there. Bring your sons and daughters. They can both play up till age 14, as long as they're not in high school yet. So I think we start well, my son started when he was 4. So we do, he turned 5 like that next week, but we do have kids all the way from, 4 up to 14. So come on out, sign up. Need to do it as soon as possible. If you want to be on my team, if you got a 14 or a 13-year-old, you got to do it right away because I'm almost at my cap. So certainly go online as soon as possible, get signed up. I believe they're closing everything July 1st for our official registration. I'm sure that if you guys miss that, we can still add you on. But if you want your name and number on your uniform, you got to get registered as soon as possible. So go to Team Snap, search Havre Grace Youth Football, or go to the city website. You can shoot me an email, and I'll hook you up. With that, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councilmember Ringsacher. Good evening, Council President Glenn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and fellow council members. Havre Grace Little League is having a virtual tag day this year. The kids normally go around, knock on door to door to collect money, to support league operations. So it gives them a chance year after year to play. And of course, this year they decided to do a virtual tag day. So I would encourage the community to give favorable consideration to making a contribution so these kids can end 2021 on a high note. If you want to give, go to https://give.classy, that's classy.org/HDG tag day. That's https://give.classy.org/HDG tag day. So I got the distinct opportunity to attend the Havre Grace High School graduation at Ripken Stadium. I wish all the seniors, the graduating seniors, nothing but the best. And don't ever forget that all-important motto, enter to learn, leave to serve. Havre Grace Junior Wrestlers, they had their banquet Friday night in the pouring down rain. Thankfully, they had cover. But they also inducted 4 initial members into the Junior Wrestler Hall of Fame. The 4 members are 2 coaches, Coaches Tommy Lloyd and Mike Lambert, who without a doubt were instrumental in energizing the youth wrestling program back at Havre Grace. And they also inducted both Alex Lloyd and Gavin Lloyd, 2 brothers, who had outstanding youth wrestling careers and went on to be outstanding wrestlers for the high school team. Alex is the all-time win champion for Havre Grace High School wrestling, and Gavin was on track to beat his brother until COVID hit. COVID destroyed that dream, but Gavin was telling Alex the whole time, I'm going to beat you, and he didn't get that opportunity. But those 4 instrumentals were really instrumental in putting Havre Grace wrestling back on the map. I want to say congratulations to Councilmember Dave Martin, who was recently elected as the MML District Vice President. So congratulations, Dave, well-deserved. And Mr. Mayor, after citizens' comments, I'll be making a motion to move into closed session. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Council President. Takes us to item 19, which is comments from citizens. This is the part of this evening's agenda. If you're here to speak on any matter of city business that is not on the agenda, please raise your hand to be recognized. Okay. We'll move on to item number 20. Council President.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under the Open Meetings Act, General Provision Article 3-305, I make a motion to recess into closed session on Monday, June 7, 2021 at 9:25 p.m. to consider the following matter. Director of Administration appointment pursuant to City Charter, Section 24. The meeting will be closed under the General Provisions Article, Section 3-305B1, to discuss the appointment employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction. Any other personal matter that affects one or more specific individuals. The reasons for closing the meeting are to discuss surrounding the selection and appointment of the Director of Administration and competencies of personnel that are sensitive and entitled to confidentiality. The City Council will resume open session after the closed session, and the votes will be recorded in public. That's all I have. That's my motion, and I'm looking for a second.
I'll second.
Council, I have a motion by the council president, seconded by Councilmember Martin. This is a motion to go into closed session to discuss personal matter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion to go into closed session carries 6-0 in the affirmative. At this time, we will adjourn the meeting, and we will reconvene. Conclusion. Take action after that during the meeting. So, time is now 9:26. Meeting goes into recess. Ladies and gentlemen, it is still June 7th, 2021, but the time is now 9:42. We reconvene from a closed session meeting. Call the roll. I'm going to do the roll call real quick to ascertain the presence of all council members. Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Ringsacker.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
Council President Glenn.
Here.
All council members are present and counted for. Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to approve the contract for the Director of Administration.
Council, I have a motion by the Council President. I have a second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Ringsacker. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Contract for Director of Administration for Mr. Steve Gamatoria is approved 6-0 in the affirmative. We'll go to item 24, oath of office. I will be administering the oath of Director of Administration to Mr. Stephen J. Gamatoria. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ready to do this?
Ready to go.
Okay. Mr. Gamatoria, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. When I say the word I, please say the word I and please say your name. I
Stephen J. Gamatoria,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will fulfill the requirement
that I will fulfill the requirement
of the office I'm about to assume.
of the office I'm about to assume,
I'll support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as Director of Administration
as Director of Administration
for the City of Havre de Grace,
for the city of Havre de Grace,
best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief, Director of Administration, Chief of Staff.
Take the glasses off.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. And again, as I said earlier, this move is an administrative move that I feel will best tap into our resources that we already have in our administration for the next coming years with things that are happening. A lot of stuff's happening, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of stuff is converging upon the city of Havre de Grace. I've said for a long time, you know, this decade we're in now is probably the most important in the history of our city, and I can definitely probably say these next 3 years are the pinnacle of it. So again, want to congratulate or thank Mr. Seipold for his service to the city as Director of Administration for 6 years. I look forward to working with you in your new role, and thank Mr. Gamatoria for moving from the position of Chief of Staff up to Director of Administration. And more importantly, I want to thank each council member for supporting this administration and you know, again, supporting Mr. Gamatoria's appointment, always supporting Mr. Seipold. Means a lot. Like I say, running the government is a big job, and I appreciate you guys being part of it. I'd like to go to item 25, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by the CP, seconded by Councilmember Ringsager. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Nay. Motion to adjourn June 7th council meeting 2021 carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. We'll see you June 21st.